Coach's Corner. I'm Rilee Stapleton here with the girls lacrosse coach, Miss Lehman, for another episode. How are you doing today?
Great.
So, girls lacrosse, off to a pretty good start. I think 4-0.
Correct.
4 pretty big wins. I think we had like a 19-1, a 21-0 in there.
Yes.
But Saturday we'll provide a bit of a change of pace playing Johns Creek.
Yes.
So what are you guys doing to prepare for that game?
We are working a lot on our ball movement, off-ball movement. That's actually one of the big areas we need to work on are the girls. When we're not on ball, making sure that we're keeping those other defenders busy so that we can obviously get cuts and get our scores in there. We're working a lot on the mental game. It is definitely a different approach this year than it was last year. Last year we had never made it as far as we did to the state championship. So it was a one game at a time kind of strategy, which we're still doing that, but it's definitely a different mental engagement than what we've had in the past. We don't want to get complacent or feel like, oh, you know, so we're still trying to keep that same approach, but we are definitely working on our mental game and making sure that we are fully prepared and you know, having that vision of what we're doing before every game.
I think the 4 wins have been like 19 goals, 18 goals, 15 goals, and then 21. So obviously this team can score. Can you talk about, you know, who's been great on the offensive side of the field?
Yes, we have. We're very fortunate. We have a lot of talent on that end, and I could truly say it's across the entire sideline of our offensive players. We've got, of course, Ansley Wallace is one of our attackmen, very effective on placement of goals. We've got Ryan King, of course, same thing, very effective on her placement of goals. We have Caroline Andrews, Carrie Cronin. Then when we look at even our current freshmen that we have playing this year, again, lots, anywhere from the seniors all the way down to the freshmen, we have kids that we can definitely rotate in and out and still be effective on shooting on those goals. So.
I think even your daughter have a couple goals this year?
She does. She does.
So
yeah.
Everyone.
Proud mom.
Yeah, and I know that I think especially it turned last year just how young the team was, and they still got as far as they did. And I remember last year I traveled up to the state championship, Kennesaw, and like you mentioned, it was kind of, you know, first time there, and we were a little nervous. And now on the board back here, they look, you know, very confident that they're going to win state. Can you just talk about kind of the whole change in mentality from last year to this year?
Yes. Definitely, anytime you face a loss of that magnitude, it's obviously it has a major impact on us. However, if we look at the positive side of that, I think the girls are even more driven now than they were last year. Like you said, we walked in there, it was completely new to us. We had never been in that situation before. It was very overwhelming. Just the venue itself was overwhelming to be in that type of stadium. So I feel like definitely we have the potential to get back there again this year, and that's the plan. But I definitely feel like mentally we are going to be more set. We're going to be more prepared. So I feel because of that we actually have a better chance this year than we did last year, because we still have the equal amount of talent as we had before. So.
And like you said, you know, that's the plan. I kind of like that about this team is last year, once you guys started winning playoff games, it kind of became like we could get there. And then now this year, it's like the whole mindset is we're going to get there. Like it's ours this year.
Right.
And I remember last year, first half, you know, everything was happening fast. We got down really quick. The second half, we were firing off goals, and I think we matched them for goals scored. Do you think the second half, those girls seeing, you know, we can play with these teams that have, you know, like Blessed Trinity was winning state championships like it was nothing. I think that second half of that game was crucial in the mentality.
Absolutely. We have made some adjustments both on our offense and defense this year. Not going to give it away, all what we're doing on that, but it's definitely going to have an impact. I would definitely keep an eye on the changes that we have on that, on the offense and defense, especially on the defensive side. We have a few tricks up our sleeve for that. So
I remember watching a couple games last year, and just sitting in the stands, you could hear at times, you know, when the team is playing well, they're communicating very well. Do you think communication is still one of our strengths?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's in lacrosse, it's critical that the girls talk and they have that communication on the field. offensively and defensively. They have to be able to communicate and discuss who's going where, when, who's going to make the cut, all that good stuff.
And you mentioned Ansley Wallace, and last year, I mean, her sophomore year, she was one of the best players we had, probably one of our top goal scorers. And then last year, she watched the entire state championship run from the sideline with her injury. Have you noticed like any kind of like hunger from her this year that she's finally back out there and she wants to prove something?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are so fortunate in the amount of leadership we have this year across the board on our team. And she has no doubt been a very critical part of that leadership. She has been a leader even in off-season, before we even started. I mean, she was communicating with girls before we had tryouts, and she was encouraging them to come and do their conditioning workouts and getting them through the actual tryouts themselves. And it's just been amazing how positive she's been, and absolutely she's got that hunger. And because of that, the other teammates are feeding off of it, and it's good to see.
And just forgot where I was going with that, but Ansley's whole story, I've even talked to her about a little bit this year. It's just cool to see her back. Like, sophomore year she was good, and then her and Ryan, they're just crazy. But I remember one big thing, I think it was Ryan last year was one who was very good on face-offs.
Yes, her and Alyssa are an amazing pair on the circle, absolutely.
Oh, and that was what I wanted to ask. Alyssa, she's someone who not only has playoff experience from her lacrosse trip last year, but she's been in the playoffs with softball, close games with basketball. Do you think that all of that experience she has throughout all those sports carries over to the players on the team?
Yes, the preparation for those types of experiences she shares. That's what, I mean, truly the leadership we have, it's just amazing how much these girls work together and encourage each other. And they each have a unique quality that they bring to the team, and they understand that, and then that's how they know what to share amongst the teammates. So we don't have a problem with any one particular leader trying to take over the leadership of someone else, because they know what their skill set is in that realm. So it's been awesome. It's been wonderful.
And like I mentioned, state championship game last year, they got up really quick, scoring a bunch of goals, and now we have a tough game against Johns Creek on Saturday. So Carly has been our goalie. Have you been talking about her in the defense? Just make sure that you don't get behind early in this game.
Right. Well, we always say it's really the defender's job to protect Carly and Caitlin Donovan. They need that protection, and when they're the last line of defense, we never put any type of pressure on on the goalie themselves, because they understand, had it not gotten through to that point, there wouldn't have been a goal shot to begin with. So, but she's got very quick hands. Caitlin Donovan, we're very glad. Towards the end of the season last year, she was having, she was ill, and it was difficult for her to be in it. But we've got her back fully. Now we have Carly, of course, and so it's nice to know that we have two very good defenders that we can put in the goal at any given moment and feel comfortable.
And we've talked about Saturday's game, but are there any other games on the schedule that you guys have circled, highlighted, that you're ready for?
I'm sorry, I said again, which games?
I said we've talked about Saturdays, but yeah, which other games outside of that are you kind of have circled, like, gotta be ready for these?
The games that are the same as last year, like West Forsyth, which has actually turned out to be a great rival game for us, because so far in the last 2 years it's come down to 1 point.
Yeah.
So that's been phenomenal. We'll be traveling to them. They're a couple more weeks down the road. And a new team that we've added this year is Cambridge. So that will probably be one of the most challenging or non-area games that we'll have this season. So that's going to be a really big one to prepare for. And of course, there's always McIntosh at the end, but that's down the road. We don't really want to think about that, but of course the plan is to absolutely be able to defeat them and take the area championship again.
All right, well, that's all I have to ask. As for everyone watching, we've talked about it. This is a team capable of winning a state championship. So make sure you come watch the game on Saturday. Come support, and I believe it's the last home game for a little while.
Correct.
I think we
Yes.
don't come back home until April.
No, we do have a couple home games. Next week, we have Hampton, I believe it is.
Mhm.
It's either Thursday.
Was that one that got moved?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, Pope, we had a game with Pope and then they canceled, and so we ended up replacing that with a Hampton game.
Okay.
Um,
Either way, come watch all the
yeah,
home games. Come watch.
absolutely.
It's a great team, very fun team to watch. But on Saturday, it's going to be a great game. I believe game at 11.
Yes, we had to switch. Varsity is 11 and JV is at 12:30.
Okay. So that's my final message to leave you guys with. Make sure you come and support, come watch, and thank you so much for joining me. And we'll see you next time.
That's